On a brisk, windswept night at the dock in Port Azure, icy gusts sliced through the air, tearing at Captain Nyxira's raven-black tresses and biting into her skin. "She's a legend," whispered across every port and in the shadows of the night. Captain Nyxira is the formidable Huntress of the Azure Sea. With raven-black hair flowing like the midnight tide and eyes that burn with unyielding resolve, she strikes fear into the hearts of pirates and merchants alike. Her reputation is built on ruthless efficiency and unshakable prowess. She's a shadow in the water, an unstoppable force whose name is spoken with both awe and dread. In every port she visits, tales of her daring exploits and blood-red vengeance ripple through the taverns, cementing her status as a legend in the maritime world. No sailor dares cross her path, for Nyxira is as relentless as the storm and as unyielding as the depths she calls home. The Whispering Siren, a forsaken and silent tavern at midnight, cast long shadows that cloaked its vacant tables. Nestled within its secluded alcoves, she sought solitude, a tranquil sanctuary to plot her next voyage, away from inquisitive eyes and wandering ears. Her need was urgent. She had not tasted blood for weeks. Just then, a small girl slipped through the door. Unaware of Captain Nyxira's presence, the girl stepped inside. She had been contemplating distant horizons and hidden coves, the map spread before her on the scarred oak table, but the sudden intrusion jolted her back to the immediate, visceral present. Her gaze, which had been fixed on ink lines and theoretical currents, now locked onto the tiny figure. The young lady, no older than 5, on her hands and knees, oblivious, searching for some lost trinket in the gloom of the empty tavern. A soft, almost imperceptible hum started deep in Nyxira's chest, a vibration of anticipation. Her obsidian lips, smooth and satin-like, typically curled into that unmistakable predatory smirk, now parted just a fraction, unveiling a subtle gleam of elongated incisors. The mere thought ignited a shiver down her spine, the fleeting, intoxicating warmth she hadn't known in weeks. Blood. And here, delivered directly into her clandestine conclave, lay a pristine, fragile vessel, ripe with vulnerability and primed for the taking. The girl's delicate fingers ghosted over the coarse floorboards, her whispering murmurs scarcely breaking the oppressive silence. "Teddy? Where are you, Teddy?" Her voice was a fragile, reedy whisper, innocent, almost celestial in its plaintive tone. Nyxira watched, unmoving, a statue of dangerous grace. Her wide-brimmed hat draped a deeper shadow over her eyes, already veiled in darkness, rendering her expression inscrutable and enigmatic. The sapphire gem nestled in her choker thrummed faintly in the subdued light, mirroring the slow, steady beat of her own desire. Hunger had been gnawing at her soul, relentless and insidious, fraying the edges of her composure. This unforeseen gift was a moment of tenuous respite amid the chaos. A chilling expression of pleasure stretched her lips. The faint scars on her cheeks seemed to deepen with the movement. It wasn't just the hunger, it was the sheer, exquisite convenience of it. No chasing, no elaborate seduction, no need to lure a sailor off a docked ship. Just a lost lamb, wandering right into the wolf's den. She observed the girl inch forward, each movement slow and almost tentative. The child's fragile, alabaster hand stretched outward, fingertips hovering, nearly touching the leg of Nyxira's table. Nyxira didn't stir, didn't breathe. Her senses, usually attuned to the salt spray and the song of the wind, were now hyper-focused on the faint scent of life, the delicate pulse of a tiny heart. A soft, almost purring sound escaped Nyxira's throat, a sound that would have sent shivers down the spine of any seasoned pirate, let alone a lost child. The crimson in her eyes seemed to intensify, burning with an ancient hunger. The planning could wait. Diplomacy, strategy, even her ship, the Marauder's kiss, faded from her mind. There was only this, the immediate, overwhelming need. Her hand, adorned with slender, elegant fingers, twitched almost imperceptibly at her side. To strike would be effortless. To slake the thirst, a simple, swift act. Yet she lingered, savoring the moment, prolonging the exquisite anticipation. The huntress enjoys the chase, even when the prey stumbles right into her lap. This was a feast, and she was a connoisseur of such delicate meals. A low chuckle, dry as old parchment, rumbled from her chest. The girl, still searching, finally looked up, her wide, innocent eyes scanning the dark room. Her gaze swept past Nyxira, then, slowly, perhaps drawn by an invisible current of power, floated back. And then, their eyes met. The child's face, initially confused, crumpled into a pout. "Oh, there you are," she exclaimed, her voice still thin, but now edged with a tiny note of relief. She wasn't looking at Nyxira, but past her, toward a shadowy corner of the tavern. A small, grubby teddy bear lay half-hidden beneath a dusty chair. The girl beamed, oblivious to the dangerous beauty now fully focused on her. The child hadn't seen her, not truly. She had seen only her salvation, which, in a way, was precisely what Nyxira intended to be. Slowly, with an almost agonizing grace, Nyxira began to rise from her chair. The rustle of her raven-black attire was the only sound in the dead quiet of the tavern, a soft whisper like silk, yet it seemed to echo in the profound silence. Her long, elegant legs, encased in dark, fitted trousers that disappeared beneath the sweeping hem of her garments, unfolded with a predator's silent ease. She moved with fluidity, each deliberate motion radiating an unnerving power. The child, still focused on the forgotten toy, pushed herself fully upright, a wobbly ascent that threatened to send her tumbling. She took a step, then another, her small arms outstretched towards the dusty corner. "Teddy," she squeaked again, her voice brimming with the simple joy of rediscovery. She was so close to her stuffed companion, so utterly unaware of the far greater creature now looming behind her. Nyxira took a single, slow step forward, then another. Her boots, soft and supple, made no sound on the worn wood. The air around her grew colder, though the child, nearing her dusty prize, felt nothing but the warmth of her own excitement. Nyxira breathed in, savoring the delicate, iron-tinged scent of the child's young blood, a heady perfume after weeks of forced abstinence. Her fangs, no longer merely glistening, seemed to lengthen, a subtle pressure behind her lips. The girl finally reached the bear, snatching it up with a triumphant gasp. She hugged it tightly, burying her face in its worn fur. Then, as if sensing a presence, or perhaps just the sudden chill that now permeated the air, she slowly turned. Her large, innocent eyes, a vibrant shade of jade, widened slightly as they finally, truly focused on the magnificent, terrifying figure before her. Nyxira remained statuesque, silhouetted by the tavern's murky gloom, like a dark specter. The wide brim of her hat cast a brooding shadow that cloaked her eyes in darkness, leaving only her vividly painted lips and the subtle, deadly gleam of her fangs revealed, silent threats lurking beneath the veil of night. The child froze, her grip on Teddy tightening instinctively. The smile drained from her face, replaced by an awakening awareness, not of peril, but of an awe-inspiring, otherworldly beauty she struggled to comprehend. She didn't scream, didn't flee. Instead, she remained rooted, entranced and slightly bewildered, gazing at the striking, enigmatic woman who had emerged effortlessly from the shadows. Nyxira's smirk widened, a slow, languid curve that lifted the corners of her dark lips. It was a smile of pure, unadulterated pleasure, a predator's delight. Her voice, when it came, was a rich, silken murmur, like aged wine poured over velvet. "Hello, my sweet," she whispered, her voice coated with sugar. "Lost, are we?" The girl, still silent for a beat, processing the vision before her, finally managed a tiny nod. Her grip on the worn teddy bear was so tight her knuckles were white. "Teddy was lost," she whispered, her voice barely audible, still full of innocent relief rather than fear. "But I found him." She held up the bear as if presenting a trophy. Nyxira's dark eyes, still veiled by the hat's brim, but for their ruby glint, narrowed almost imperceptibly. The child's utter lack of terror was unusual. Most reacted with screams or frozen, wide-eyed dread. This one simply presented her toy. It was disarming in a way. The potent hunger, however, remained, a deep, resonant hum in her veins. Indeed, you did, Nyxira purred, taking another slow, deliberate step forward. The faint, sweet scent of the child's pulse thrummed stronger now, a siren song to her ancient thirst. She lowered her head slightly, peering from beneath the brim of her hat, allowing the girl a clearer view of her striking features, the elegant curve of her cheekbones, the faint, intriguing scars. Her lips curved further, a deliberate attempt to be alluring, to draw the child in. "And what is your name, little one?" The girl hesitated for a moment, then, as if finding courage in the soft fur of her companion, she piped up, "Lily." "My name is Lily." She clutched Teddy tighter. "Are you a fairy?" Nyxira halted mid-stride, a fleeting shadow of something inscrutable flickering across her face before her predatory smirk re-emerged, though now tinged with a subtle, uncertain edge. A fairy? The primal, ancient hunger simmering within her, the relentless craving for blood, stalled momentarily, as if caught off guard. This was not the response she had anticipated. No fear, no frantic plea for mercy, only wide, curious eyes and an utterly absurd question. She resolved to rectify that, to teach this lass the chilling true meaning of dread. Nyxira leaned in closer, her fingers delicately cradling the chin of her captive as she tipped it upwards, compelling their gaze to lock with hers. Nyxira's touch was cold, a stark contrast to the child's warm, soft skin. Lily flinched. In surprise, her jade eyes widening further. She blinked, her small, rounded face upturned, a perfect canvas of innocence under Nyxira's shadowed gaze. The faint, sweet smell of her breath, of something akin to milk and sugar, mingled with the potent, iron-rich scent of her blood, now amplified by their proximity. "A fairy," Nyxira repeated, her voice a low, throaty purr, laced with a dark amusement that was lost on the child. Her thumb, surprisingly gentle, stroked the curve of Lily's jaw. "Perhaps, little one. Some might call me a creature of enchantment, though perhaps not the kind you read about in storybooks." Her fangs, now fully extended, pricked subtly at the inside of her lip, a delicious promise. This was it. The moment of culmination.